More than I need, what you want, girl, it's yours. Give me your feelings, I just can't ignore. 'Cause all I want is you, baby. Give me your time, all your love, I've been patient.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Russell the Fourth.
Hey everybody, it's me, Brandy.
And welcome to a new view of the What They Never Told Us podcast. What's up? We back. Now in the great city of Columbus, Ohio.
Woo, shout out to Columbus.
Shout out to y'all. Do we have any Ohio listeners? What up, though? We in your backyard. We in your area.
Yeah, we are here on a work/play visit. We are now in the play portion of the visit. So we decided to go ahead and film the podcast here. We got this dope Airbnb and we said, why not?
Yeah, hopefully this angle, listen, this is the thing about doing podcasts on the fly. You kind of just got to create whatever you can with what you got. When we were looking at it, we said, there's some brick here, some good pictures. Let's see what we can make happen. So hopefully it looks like something. If not, whatever, you got us, and that's what you really came here for. You came for your people, your cousins, Brandy and Russell, and we here. So
you got your little Waffle House drink. They not sponsoring us. You need to
they
get
might
that stuff up out of the
they might
out of the camera.
They might. Listen, we got to talk about this trip too, because Columbus, I didn't know y'all was. I didn't know. I got to put some respect on your name, okay? And we'll get to that. I want to shout out my sis Taylor.
Hey,
Taylor. So that was the work portion of why we came here. If you're not familiar with my music or anything I do, Taylor's an artist I've been working with since she was like 16, 17, somewhere like that. She's a grown woman now. Such an amazing artist, and we're now under the same management. So I came out here to do some work with her. We did a dope record, and we figured while we out here, we gotta come see the city. There's a place here that we love.
Yes, Jenny's Ice Cream.
Jenny's
although they are
ice cream
on my it list right now because all my favorite flavors they don't have. So I feel like this trip was partially ruined because it's all I've been thinking about is I get to get Jenny's Ice Cream, and
What's the
they
flavor?
didn't have. I love frosé and I love the sweet cream peaches and biscuits. We've already discussed my love for all things biscuits here on the podcast. So if you put biscuits and ice cream together, sold. And
They didn't have it.
They ain't have it.
They didn't have it.
And I was ticked. Well, they had it, but they just only had it in a pint, which I can buy in the grocery store, and it's not the same.
It's not the same. Maybe pints from.
No, I saw
Straight
them.
from
They are the same ones that they same
Same packaging.
No, they the same ones.
Packaging. Might be a different ice cream.
Once
now.
you flash freeze ice cream, it ruins it. Especially that ice cream. It's so good. If you have a Jenny's in your area, even 2 hours away, I suggest you try it. It is worth the drive.
We drove 4 hours for it. And I'm going to be honest with you, this song with Taylor, we could have did over Zoom. We could have did a Zoom writing session.
But because she lives in a city that has Jenny's, we had to make a personal encounter. And we stood in line for how long yesterday? About 45 minutes?
For my pride, I'll say no. I'll say more like 20.
It was about 45 minutes waiting in line for the ice cream.
Line was jumping. That's how good it is. And I know you're like, never would I stand in line for this ice cream, but clearly you've never had Jenny's because everybody in that line was waiting for Jenny's. Like, it was a long line.
Yes, you would.
It's so good, y'all. And we're literally going back every day this week. Brandy don't know if she'll go back because they don't got her flavors, but you got to try new stuff.
I did yesterday while you were in line.
You sampled everything
impressed.
bagel ice cream. Number one, first of all,
it was good though.
It's Jenny, so I'm sure it's good, but it's still a bagel ice cream. It's still everything.
It tastes like onion. It was really weird. Like, have you ever tasted something that has just like layers of flavor? Like, so when I first put it in my mouth, it was like ice cream, and then I got like chives, and then I got onion, and then I got like a sour cream and onion chip.
That is absolutely disgusting.
But it was good.
You and the girl in front of us tried it.
Yeah, but
and even she was like, "Oh, I want that. I'll take a whole scoop."
Yeah, she got a whole scoop of it.
Yeah.
It was good. It was interesting. You'll never taste anything like it ever in life.
I won't taste it ever in life.
Whatever.
How about that?
Anyways, we're spending too much time talking about ice cream.
It's so good though. It's so
It
good.
is.
So we did that. You taught me how to play dominoes last night.
Kind of.
Kind of. You weren't 100% on the rules.
Well, so it's been a long time since I played dominoes. Like, I know the general gist of it. The part that I was stuck on was the scoring, so we still got to work that out. But it's one of my favorite games. I love dominoes.
For sure. Tonight, I'm going to teach you how to play Phase 10. Woo-hoo. I'm attempting to vlog the trip, so pay attention to the YouTube. If you're not subscribed to us, go ahead and do that. I'm attempting to vlog. We don't know. If you don't see the vlog, it's because it just didn't work out. But
well, so tell them about your attempt to vlog. So today we woke up.
Is this back to Waffle House?
Yes, we woke up and we were looking for brunch spots. So Russell and I are like brunch fanatics. We love brunch. And everything was either closed on a Monday or just too far away. So I was like, well, they got a Waffle House. Let's just go to Waffle House. Now, Waffle House is downtown Columbus, directly across the street from the OSU campus. So seemingly safe, right? Bunch of college students, like.
Well, let me say this.
Number one, busy area.
Number one, I was skeptical already because I feel like for you to have an authentic Waffle House experience, you got to feel a little bit in danger. No. You got to feel like at any point it could pop off. You got to feel like the waiter is a little bit rude. So number one location, I was like, Midwest Waffle House. I don't know. We go.
We park, and he gives me the camera, and I'm like, do you want to take this into the Waffle House? And
I didn't give you the camera. You got out the
No,
truck.
You handed it to me when you were getting ready to go pay the parking meter thing.
I was holding it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I said, do you want to take this in? And you're like, why? Shouldn't I? And I was like, And you said, no, yeah, let's go ahead and take it. And I said, okay, it's fine. Like, whatever. So we take it in there, and immediately people have questions about the camera.
Yeah, and then was our waiter. She seemed innocent. She was like, hey, that's a cool camera. Like, does it take good pictures? I'm just answering questions, telling her the model of it or whatever. Then another gentleman, he said, oh, y'all do YouTube? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, that's what's up. I don't think nothing of it. Now, listen, this is going to sound real discriminatory, and I don't like it. This sounds real discriminatory.
Nah.
But she was like, Brandon was like, you asking a little too many questions about this camera. Asking too many questions about this camera.
First of all, like, we're at Waffle House. Like, the waitress, no shade to her. But it's a very expensive piece of equipment.
All shade.
And she worked at the Waffle House.
All shade.
And she was
this
like,
could be a side job.
I need a new camera. And she was like, what did you say the matter was? I'm going to write it down. So I don't know. I'm very aware of my surroundings, right?
That's real shady.
So man. I see we're in the booth, and the guy who was talking to Russell is at the bar. I don't know what you call it at Waffle House. The counter.
Yeah, the counter.
And so 2 booths behind us is a clearly homeless person. He's in there. He's eating, and there's
he ain't homeless. He got money for food.
No, somebody might have gave it to him. I ain't seen pay either when he walked out. So that might just be his friends up in there. But anyways, he's in the back corner. And then there's a girl at the end of the bar who's not eating and just talking to one of the employees. And she says to the homeless dude, where your buddy go? And he's like, I don't know. Then we got a dude who's sitting a couple seats down from the girl who clearly he ain't no college student. He asked Russell all these questions about the camera. So he asked
me was, y'all do YouTube.
No.
I said,
that's what's up.
He said, that's what's up. All these questions is not the case.
Listen,
he asked if we did YouTube. I said, yes.
I was right.
So look, then he stands up, adjusts his pants, and he got a little hammer on him. He got that
thing on him.
He's strapped. You know what I'm saying? Had a little, saw the hammer, okay, saw the clip, I was like, oh, okay. All right.
So I was right.
So, and when I look back to tell her he had a hammer, I look at Brandy. She's clenching her utensil. She's got a fork. I
had like I'm about to yank somebody if they come up on.
First of all, he got a gun.
So I told him, I'm like,
he got a gun. She's sitting here with a fork.
I didn't know he had a gun at this point. You hadn't told me he had a gun yet. So I told him the camera was sitting on the tabletop. So I said, just put it down on the bench next to you. So if anybody does come and try to get it, they have to wrestle you to get it. And if they trying to get it, I got my fork and
she's sitting here devising a whole escape plan. I'm like, okay. Now, at the time when I saw the fork, I was like, you know what? No, I'm mixing the story up. I saw the fork before I saw the gun. Because I remember being like, okay, all right. And then he stood up and just pants on. I was like, oh, this real. Oh, this real. I said, hey, yo, I'm going to go put the camera in the car. She was like, what? Yeah, I'm going to go put the camera in the car. She said, you just going to leave me?
Well, because I said, why? And you said, he got a gun. And I'm like, you just gonna leave me? Like,
in my mind, yo, I'm like, okay, it's broad daylight across from Ohio State University's campus. I saw a high influx of like just comfortable white people, right? Usually white people know the spots that they're not supposed to be in and they feel it before us. So when I saw them sitting there eating waffle spot, I said, okay, we ain't in danger.
It was one white couple.
Huh? Nah, it was a couple, and then there was the oh no, that was a black family sitting on the other side of them. But it was children. I was like, man, ain't nothing finna pop off. He was mad. He was being nice. First of all, you from the hood. Half the people you talk to throughout your life, they got a gun on him. Like,
that's not true.
I've been in a room with people who got guns on them. Like, I know people who just keep guns on them. So I don't want to assume just because he had a gun.
So why you put it in a car?
Well, I wasn't going to make it easy. Like, but I didn't feel bad about leaving you. I was like, I don't feel like he was in danger.
I was like, oh, okay. So now I really I got a tight grip on my fork because I'm like, okay,
he got a gun.
I didn't. What I didn't want to happen is you leave and then he see you leave and leave shortly after. So I was like, if anything, like if he walk up out of here, I might have to walk up and at least warn you or something.
Baby, I didn't have the restaurant coming after you.
I didn't have nothing else to protect myself with, and if I had to stab him in his femoral artery or in his what's this one called, carotid, I was gonna do that.
So clearly, as you can tell, Brandy's been ghetto. She's not hood. She ain't a hood baby no more.
Why do you think that? Because I'm not comfortable with people having guns?
She's not a hood baby no more. And I've never been that. So clearly nothing happened. We just ate breakfast and left. So that's a hightail sign that my man was just asking that, he was like, oh, y'all do YouTube, that's what's up. Like, I felt
like if he had the opportunity, he probably would have.
He did have the opportunity. I left there with the camera by myself. He saw me. If he wanted to, he could have followed right out. Say, hey, on that camera.
I think he thought about it, but he had paid for his food already.
I think he just asked about our YouTube, and that man had no ill intent.
He ain't even asked what the channel was.
I think it's very true that there are black men out here who keep guns on them who have no ill intent.
It was very serious, but my awareness was heightened in the situation, and I just felt unsafe in that. You
feel unsafe
situation.
A lot, though.
I do.
You do. So let's not always assume that every time you feel unsafe that there's unsafe people. Sometimes it's just.
But when I feel unsafe, and then if somebody has a gun, it just heightens the.
Oh God!
Like, so then when
I wish I wouldn't have told you.
As soon as you left, I started praying. God, I bind up every evil spirit in this place.
I wish I wouldn't have told you. It sent you to a panic.
It didn't. No, I was relaxed. Relaxed enough to react, but it
was good. We got our full Waffle House experience. It was ghetto. They messed up my order. We didn't get our drinks until after we got our food. Like, it was the full blown Waffle House experience. I honestly feel like there's no way that across all of these different restaurants they have the same issues. I feel like it's a part of the experience. They train you to do that.
To mess up orders?
It's like Chick-fil-A. Not everybody's that polite. They train you to be like, my pleasure. How can I serve you today? Like, like that's part of their training. I feel like at Waffle House, they say, nah, the drinks come after the meal. Like,
nah, if they ready to pay, go hand them the coat.
Yeah, like this is part of the experience. So, nah, I'm good.
I haven't been to a Waffle House in 20 years, and I don't need to go back.
I don't think you go back. First of all, I knew you weren't a Waffle House person anyway because you went there talking about something. I think I'm going to get pancakes. I said, what you getting? I'm going to get some pancakes. What'd you just say? You are no. First of all, you're not, because that's not even on the menu. Number one. Number two, who comes to Waffle House and gets pancakes?
They changed that in the last 20 years. I swear I got pancakes when
I ain't never seen pancakes on a Waffle House menu. It's been the same menu.
I don't eat waffles.
For a long
I had
time.
A pancake the last
you
time
ain't never had no pancake at Waffle House. You was at IHOP. Didn't know no better.
I probably was. Who knows? But I thought it was a Waffle House. I thought I ate there before.
Oh yeah. So good times. I don't know if this is late now, but I feel like we have to weigh in. The internet's been all ablaze, and we were gonna talk about it live, but we're like, no, let's save it for like the actual episode, so we can talk about it. So hopefully you're not tired of hearing about it by now. But we gotta throw our little 2 cents in about the Keke Palmer and baby daddy situation. What's his name?
Leo, this baby daddy. I don't know what his name is.
Desmond? Something with a D? I don't know.
Yeah.
Desmond. We're going to call him Desmond for the episode.
We should have had the facts before we came and tried to talk about some people's business.
Leo, baby. Leo daddy.
But I think it kind of plays into what we talked about last week when you asked the question about cosmetic surgery or surgery to fix yourself. Like, do you have to consult with your spouse? Like, I feel like what you wear is also a part of that category. Like, does your partner have a say in what you wear?
I don't. So I don't think of them as the same. I don't. I don't put those things in the same.
But do they have a say in what you wear?
Yeah.
Yes.
If I was getting dressed today and you were like, babe, them shorts is too tight. Them shorts is too short. I'm like, oh man, dang. If I had another pair, I'd change into them. I trust your opinion. It's not like if you say it, I gotta listen. Everyone has autonomy. Everybody has a choice. But if you're going to be with somebody whose voice means nothing to you, if you don't consider their thoughts and their feelings, why be with them? The people that you do life with should have a voice in your life. Now, just because they say it don't mean you acquiesce. And, of course, you have the right to be like, you know what? That sounds stupid.
I hear you, but...
Yeah, I hear you, but I like it, so deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Or it could be like, dang, you know what? Dang it, I am showing too much print in these gray sweatpants. This is not a good look for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or if I'm with you and I'm wearing something that isn't representative of you or something that doesn't feel good as my partner, it's like, yo, I'm uncomfortable with that. I think it deserves to be heard. Doesn't mean you gotta listen, but it deserves to be a conversation. I do believe that.
So in case you've been living under a rock and you don't know what happened with Keke Palmer and Mr. Keke Palmer.
Don't do that, because that's probably why he mad. It's probably right there.
Stedman. If you didn't hear
You're disrespectful.
We don't know him, okay?
Don't make up names.
We don't know him.
Don't be poking at that man.
So she went out with her girls to an Usher concert. Mm-hmm. She had on a sheer dress, but then she had on a bodysuit.
Can we talk about Keke Palmer body post baby?
Come on, she done glued up.
This is why that baby. This is why you don't need to get booty. This is why.
So you're just saying I need to have a baby?
No, this is what I'm saying.
I'd rather just get a booty.
Girls who don't have body and then get body, they don't know how to act. There's a reason.
So she don't know how to act. Anyway, let me finish telling the story. She goes to the Usher concert. And he has a little section of the show when he sings "There Goes My Baby." He finds a girl. Typically, it's one of the famous people who have come to see his show, and he pulls them out, sings and dances with them on this song. So Keke Palmer was the lucky lady the day she visited the concert, which is during his residency in Vegas. And the internet went ablaze when Mr. Keke Palmer, what is his name? You need to look it up. Desmond Stedman, whatever his name is. When he came out on the internet the next day and said, that dress though, but you a mom. As if to insinuate because she's a mom, she shouldn't be wearing certain things. Now, when I saw the clip, even before he said anything about it, I showed it to Russell and said, do you think that this is okay? What's his name?
Literally everywhere I go, it just says Keke Palmer's boyfriend, Keke Palmer's boyfriend, Keke Palmer's boyfriend. His name is Darius.
Hey, Darius.
What's up, Darius, man? Sorry, bro.
So I asked Russell, I said, what do you think about this? And what did you say?
I don't remember.
You don't remember what you said? Okay. So he said he didn't see anything wrong with the interaction between Keke Palmer and Usher. So then we got on this whole discussion about, like, is it different because she's famous? And if it was me who got pulled and acted, flirtatiously with him while I'm scantily clad, would you feel different? And you said no. You said it's part of the show. Whatever. Yeah. That's just it. You out having a good time with your girl.
Now, you didn't tell me what you were wearing.
I said if that were me, I would be
You
wearing
said
the
if that were
wearing.
me and someone was singing to me. You didn't factor in the outfit. And at the time when you told me that, I don't think I was paying attention to what she was wearing.
So if I had on that outfit, the same scenario, I went to the Usher concert.
I can't picture you at anywhere with that outfit on. Not at an Usher conference. I wouldn't like you in that outfit, period.
Okay.
That's so never mind the other part, where she was at, who she was with, what was happening in front of everybody, just in general. And this is none of, but it's only because of you.
because of who I am.
Yeah, like if I was with you beforehand, you were dressing like that. I've seen you dress like that. It's not a problem. I married you knowing you dress like that. To me, it's just, I know you don't, I've never seen your booty out in public. So I'd be like, what are you doing? Why are you showing out all of a sudden? You know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying I have a problem with a woman dressing like that. I'm saying
it's just
it's very personal for you. That's not
me
you.
To do.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why.
So if I just went, like, if my girls call me and was
if
like,
you was
hey,
dressed
they going
sexy,
out, and I put on my freakum dress.
If you were dressed sexy and then you were at an Usher concert and he was singing to you, I would not feel no type of ways.
I just can't have my booty cheeks out.
No, in nowhere in the world. Nowhere in the world
well,
can you have your booty
out at the water park.
Swimming pool. There we go. I found a place. Beach, swimming pool. There we go. Acceptable.
So I kind of had a different opinion. I said because they're famous, they're probably friendly, and the whole embrace that they didn't seem that much to me, right? Yeah. Now, if I was a normal girl who really would be impressed by this display of seemingly affection, whether he's acting or just playing his part or not, it's affection, and I'm that close up on somebody and I'm like melting and swooning over him, I would expect my man to feel some certain kind of way. But because they're famous and they probably have a rapport, I was like, it's not that big of a deal. But then when Darius came out and said what he said, I'm like, is he mad at what she wearing, or is he mad at what happened? Because it seems like he attacked her for, the outfit that she had on. But I'm like, y'all live together. They have to live together, right? And did he not see her when she left? Did she have it in the bag and change in the car?
Maybe he didn't see it. But also the piece is like, Keke Palmer has been dressing sexy since she was an adult.
Okay.
Across music videos, public appearances, she's dressed sexy before. Like that outfit wasn't out of the blue. It's not like, oh my God, I've never seen her dressed like that.
What she wore on the Terrell show was very it wasn't like revealing, but it was very sexy.
And on top of that, Keke? There was a whole video of her like twerking while she was pregnant with him. She had on some like boy shorts and she was like, I got some booty now. Like,
he was in the video.
He was there. They were laughing, joking, having a good time.
Okay.
And this is when I see those things, and when I look at the totality of just her, how she moves, his issue now, it makes me lean on this idea. His issue was not the outfit. It was who was there appreciating the outfit.
Yeah.
His issue wasn't the outfit. It was Usher.
It's an ego thing.
It's Usher. Yeah. Like you're a seemingly normal guy who lives a normal life, and you're with someone who casts a big shadow. Right? Keke Palmer is a big personality. On top of the fact she's extremely talented, popular. She's a celebrity. Like,
she's beautiful.
She's beautiful. That comes with some. On top of that, now she's shapely. She got somebody. And someone who in your mind is on the same level with her, is interacting with her in a flirtatious nature. And really it triggered insecurities. You mask those insecurities under something that you feel like gives you the green light to feel the way you feel. Like you're a mom. Yeah. You're the mother of my child. Okay, that gives you the green light, and it makes you feel like, I have a right to feel this way. It's really just insecurities though. And instead of addressing that, or you had a conversation with her, you even made yourself seem more like a cornball because you went on Beyonce's internet.
It's Keke Palmer internet right now.
You took yourself to Keke's internet to address her, to put your opinion on that. Like, and I just felt like when you're with somebody, especially somebody like that, I think it's wrong in general, but when you're with somebody whose whole persona and brand is very much so shared, to the world, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's really whack.
So I agree with everything that you said, but I also want to take it like just a little bit deeper to me, because now with our platform growing in the way that it has, we see how vicious people can be on the internet, right? And at no point in time, if somebody comes at me in our comments, are you like, haha, that's funny? Like, you're like, hey, did you see what he said? I'm going to delete it. I should respond. Like, so we don't even do anything that's risque, and people come at me for just saying I'm a woman and I got feelings and emotions. They're like, oh, you shouldn't have feelings and emotions. You need to be subservient. You know what I'm saying? So now you know what she gets. I'm sure she gets way worse than that on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
And now you're putting it on your platform where now all these people have come because of who you're attached to. Mm-hmm. And he was like liking very disrespectful comments that people were
I
making.
didn't see that part.
Yeah.
Really?
That people were making towards her. So now I'm like, not only did you disrespect her, but now you've given a green light for everybody on this internet to disrespect her. Because you've already taken the lead. If he don't respect her, I'm definitely not about to respect her. So I'm going to tell you how trash your girl is for doing this. And he's like, you know what I'm saying? In the comments.
Oh, that's foul.
It's wrong, right?
That's really foul.
I'm like,
he just wants someone to side with him.
But you want to somebody to side with you over saving your relationship?
Yeah, no, it's whack. It's extremely wrong. But when your self-image is so low, you're just looking for validation however it comes, even if it comes towards disrespect. You can't even recognize how it's disrespectful to your girl and you because you're just so excited. Oh, yeah, you feel me? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's extremely whack. Like, this is why you have to really take into consideration not just who you're with, but who they are in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can handle.
Yeah, like, I might really love who you are, Barack. Like, you might be a dope dude. But if I see presidential potential in you, if I hear you talking about I want to be a politician. If you know that ain't a world you want to step into, Absolutely. Yeah, you might love him, you might love the way he treats you and all that, but if you know you can't handle that, then you need to take that into consideration.
I mean, we dealt with that, right? I think you would not waited like you intentionally withheld the information, but we were deep in love before you said, I feel a calling on my life to preach. And the immediate, yeah.
I've been preaching since I was 18.
No, like when you said like you feel like that's in your future to like pastor
like pastoring,
and having a church and all of that.
Oh yeah.
And I freaked out. I was like, look, I don't want to be a first lady. Like, that's not, I don't feel that calling on my life. Like, if I can be the head of the usher board and while you run the church, then cool. Cause I don't feel that, right? That's something that I seriously had to consider. If you feel like God has told you that this is something that you're going to do, I got to make a decision because I'm along for the ride, whatever happens. But if it's something that I'm like, you know what, that's the line that I can't cross. I think there are not enough people who are willing to walk away when they see that type of red flag. And he might love her as a person, but until you get a glimpse of what that life is really like, you don't really know if you can handle it or not.
Absolutely. And there's also the piece where people be like, yeah, but what's the chances of that happening? Or that might not happen. Right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But like,
and then it happened.
I really believe like a big function of, I don't want to speak in generalities here, but just in general, like I think a big function with men and women in marriages is, I think a big function of the man is like vision casting. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like we're literally sitting in a vision. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
When we were talking, I was like, man, like I think this could be a dope podcast. Mm-hmm. And you were like, you.
I don't see that. I don't
really see
want
that.
to talk to other people.
You know what I'm saying? And even when we started, we didn't know it was going to be this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We had vision. I was like, I remember saying like, I think this will be big. I feel like this could be huge. Like just hearing our conversation, our dynamic, our chemistry, I think this could be something. Now, if you were just like, all right, whatever, that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then when we get here and I start setting up microphones, it's like, hold on, wait, what we doing? You know what I'm saying? At some point, if you're dealing with a man, you need to seriously consider the vision he's putting out. Because if he say, hey, look, baby, like I've always wanted to be a rapper, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's not going to happen. You can't get mad when he's 43 and he's still trying to go to the studio. Yeah. It's like, no, he told you this. Like when a man's got a vision, he got to see it through, my boy. Like he got to see it through.
I do think though there's a part of that dynamic where even though the man has the vision, like we have to be able to make sure that that's feasible for everybody. So in the scenario where you want to be a rapper and you're going to pursue it at any cost, like if our our livelihood is that cost if our
No, and I do want to make a distinction between
please.
like just your personal desires and ambitions versus a God-given vision you have for your life, right? Like there's no part of me that says, ooh, I want to pastor church one day. When I look at that assignment, I'm like, yo, that's terrifying. That's scary. Who wants to be responsible for people's spiritual wellness? I'm having a hard time managing my own, you know what I mean? Like, let alone trying to counsel and, you know, like other people. Like the amount of stress it takes for me to put together one sermon versus every Sunday. Who wants to sign up for that? Some people desire just spotlight and elevation. I ain't built like that. But I'm aware of a nudge that's on me. I'm aware of what's been spoken over my life since I was a teenager. So, you know what? It's a high probability this might be in my future. Let people, I've had that, every girl I've been with, I've said that to. Every girl I've taken seriously, I've said that to.
Really?
Absolutely. And how they respond has a high probability on where it goes.
Well, it can, because I was like, oh, no.
You didn't say that.
I definitely
That was your first reaction, but you ended it with saying like, hey, look, like, I don't think I've envisioned that, but if that's where God's taking you, like, you know, I'd have to be down for, like, you made the decision.
Yeah.
You made a clear-cut decision. Now, I don't know if you was 100% sure, and maybe you was in your head like, yeah, but what's the chances of that happening?
I definitely go back and forth on that. Like, is this really, like, how can I talk him out of this? What can I do? I'm going to be whispering in your ear. No, I do believe that. I do believe that if you, and I know, like, I think what made that distinction different when you said that is because I saw that too. It's not like this just came out of left field and, you know, God was slowly revealing the same thing to me about that. But, you know, the personal part of me was definitely like, nah, we ain't doing that. I hear you, but this podcast is really dope. Like, we don't really have to change. Could this be a ministry?
I mean, but honestly, like, who knows? Like, I mean, once again, I don't personally desire that, so who knows where God's going to lead? But it's important to have that conversation.
Yeah, and
you know
I think,
and it's not a gender thing. I want to put that out there too. Like I brought up the aspect of a man with vision, but women have vision too.
Absolutely.
Women aspire to things too.
Absolutely.
And if she says like, "Hey, I want to be a plus size model," you can't just be like, shrug it off and then get mad when she's sitting here booking photo shoots. And you're like, baby, you got your body out. You showing all my goodies. She's like, I told you this is what I wanted. You didn't believe me?
It's going to take us to the next level.
It's going to get us out the hood.
No, but I think in those situations where, and I think we've seen this scenario played out time and time again where a high status person dates someone who maybe not is just regular.
Yeah.
Like for the sake of conversation, we're gonna call them regular. And it's a hard adjustment. You're in the spotlight. Everything you do is scrutinized. If they were just in a regular relationship and his girl went out and the same scenario happened, she got pulled out by Usher and he makes that tweet on the internet, nobody cares about it. But because of who she is, it brings a larger spotlight on everything that you do.
Yeah.
And him as a person, I'm going to say he made a mistake. I don't know if he feel like he made a mistake or not. Because even if he felt that way, I don't think he should have addressed it publicly before he had a conversation and resolved that privately.
Definitely. And even if he had a conversation with her, there's no part of this scenario that is necessary for the world to be brought into.
Yeah.
There's no part of this that needs to have the feedback of the world.
Yeah.
And they're going to talk regardless. What I look like going on the internet to address the world about an issue I have with my woman when she's here.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. But it's not a Keke Palmer Darius thing. This is a people thing.
And that's what I was trying to say. Is that, like, if they were regular people, no one would care. And it's the adjustment that I feel like he's missing. Like, you're just not Darius no more. You know what I'm saying?
He's
like,
still just Darius.
You're going to be known. You're attached to this woman who has she got a spotlight on her.
You got to be comfortable with who you are in your relationship. And I think this is important for people who are attached to big personalities. We saw this dope podcast. I can't remember what show it was or who's it was. It was Kevin on Stage and his wife.
Oh, when they were talking to Ty Tribbett.
And his wife. Marriage Be Hard. They wrote a book called Marriage Be Hard. And they did like a short run podcasts where they were just having conversations with other couples.
Right.
And I don't even know how we stumbled on it, but it was such a dope conversation. Check it out if you get a chance to. But they were talking about, and it kind of landed on the wives. It was Shantae Trebet and Melissa. And they were talking about how they wrestled with maintaining sense of self, their own aspirations, their own goals, their own visions, alongside these big personality husbands, right? Mm-hmm. Who are aspiring and succeeding and aspiring to these platforms, right? Kevin on Stage with his comedy, his internet following. Ty Tribbett, if you've just been under a rock and you don't know who he is, he's one of the biggest gospel artists of our time. You know what I mean? And most people just like, oh man, what a great life you lead being attached to these people, right? Like, oh wow, look at your house, and oh, you're in Dubai, or you know what I mean? But there is a cost for every road you travel on.
Absolutely. And I don't even think it necessarily, you feel that dynamic even when the person that you're with isn't famous. I feel that dynamic in this relationship. It's hard being in a relationship with somebody who, for lack of a better term, shines and you like to take the back seat. Like Russell's very Mr. Personality, Mr. Friendly, and I'm not, right? So the things that you want to do in life are very outward facing, you know what I'm saying? They affect many people. Like it'll put you on a stage, it'll put you on a platform, it'll put you in an area to affect multiple people's life, whether it's music, whether it's ministry, whether it's a combination of the two. Whatever it is, people's eyes will naturally be on you. Yeah. And to be with somebody like that when you are naturally a person who tends to take a back seat, it kind of makes you suppress your desires. I hope I'm saying that in the right way. But because I know what he wants to do, because I know how strongly he feels about what he wants to do, there are times where I feel like what I want to do, what I aspire to do, can't happen until he reaches where he is. And that's the conversation that they were having, is like you just kind of shrink back and take a back seat, and the vision that your partner has for their life and for their self and for you, it really runs the show for a period of time. And can you be okay with that? And how do you find your individuality when a personality is the forefront of your relationship? Because really that's what it is.
Now, for like, and this is very specific to them, right? So for instance, Melissa and Kevin, you know, like they relocated to California. So, okay, that's uprooting the family.
Yes.
That's quitting your job, relocating. Ty Tribbett was a touring gospel artist. So, you know, right, we got kids. There was at one point where she toured with him and she sang with the group, but then that stopped. Okay, now I got a mother. And so the aspect of one vision being put on hold while the other one goes forward is realistic and is a very much so a part of their story. I'm not 100% sure that it always has to be like that, right? Like there is a world in some cases where both of you guys can be pursuing different things simultaneously.
I agree with that to a certain aspect, because it depends on what you want to do.
What
right?
You're pursuing, right?
Like if your music career takes off, it's certain things that I'm just not going to be able to do because I have to be at home with the kids. Like we have 5 of them things. Like they require parental guidance and to be there. And if you go on tour for months at a time, somebody has to be there.
It depends on what your vision is.
It does.
If you say I want to write a book, all right, well, cool, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You want to write a book, but writing a book takes time. Like me, I would love to write a book, right? Yeah. But our life is not set up right now for me to take time away to go write a book, because you have to be in a certain mental space. You have to be void of distractions. You have to be motivated.
I'm going to challenge you on that.
You have to be motivated.
Challenge you on that.
And you have to have a scenario that's set up to where if I pull back from these things, there's someone there to step up and take care of the other things.
Yeah, I think that I put more emphasis on that. You got to be motivated. Yeah.
It's all a part of it. Like,
because when you're properly motivated, you find the space to do those things. Because the same factors that are in place for me pursuing what I'm pursuing, they're in place for you to do that. Like, I don't always have a space to go to the studio or to do those things. And, you know what I'm saying? Most of the time, I'm waiting on a miracle for happen for me to be able to, for me to push the song through, okay, I got to hire this singer. I got to book the studio time. I need this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's all like internal stuff that you can handle doing those things without that affecting the family.
We talk about writing a book. You got Starbucks, you got a laptop, you go away, you do that. The kids are gone every other weekend for 4 days at a time. Now there's nobody in the house there. It's void of distraction. I'm saying if it was something you were actually pursuing, there's a way to make it happen. But when you're properly motivated, then it creates conversations like, hey, look, I know you got this going on. I know you're doing X, Y, and Z, but this is something that's on my heart to do, and I need your support. And then we come to the table like, okay, let's figure this out. You know what I'm saying? But if you come to the table like you doing your thing, so there's no room for me, and we don't have the conversation, now it creates this animosity. And that's what I was feeling when we were watching them. It was like this, they both were speaking on this tension that was growing, because while you're out living your dreams, mine are on the back burner, right? I think watching that, what I left with was, okay, this is how we avoid that. When there's something you want to pursue, I don't want to wait till I'm on a big stage and I'm content as I'll get out and you're miserable. I'm going to learn from them. I'm going to learn from them so that as the vision's coming forward for me, I know what you want to pursue. I know what's on your heart to do. And whatever growth I have, I'm using that to make way for what you want to do. Or even if I don't grow, we're working together to say, okay, last week was your week to do your thing. This week is mine. Okay. Last Saturday you went to the studio. I was here with the kids. So the next Saturday, that's mine. I'm renting out the space here, or you going to take the kids for X amount of time. I'm going to be here writing this book or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
The point is
working
that
together.
it takes sacrifice on both ends.
And awareness.
If you don't have, number one, if you don't have the conversation, if you just convince yourself that this person's wants, needs, and desires are what takes the forefront, and so you just assume that you have to take a backseat, it's a problem. You have to have the conversation because you don't know how understanding your spouse is going to be. And if it's something that you really feel like you need to pursue for yourself, then you have to do that regardless, because the other person is also doing the same thing, and y'all have to find a way to make it work. In no relationship should anybody's growth be stunted while someone else is succeeding.
That's what I'm saying.
But sometimes it is necessary for one of you to say, at this time, I cannot pursue the things that I want to pursue while you are pursuing the things that you want to pursue, because it creates a conflict. And in order to avoid that, I'm going to take the back seat right now, understanding that once this is accomplished or once this happens, it's my time. And I think that's where the conversation in their scenario was missing.
It was no conversation at all.
Because they're on a grind and they're pursuing something, then you just along for the ride. Like, you're doing what you need to do, because both of them praised their wives for supporting,
absolutely,
for sacrificing, for being there when they was broke and didn't have nothing to show for all the work that they were putting in. But I think what they lacked was the recognition of what that was doing to her.
They didn't even think, like, they both were like, I didn't even know that you wanted what you wanted. And that's why I think what you were saying is so important. The conversation is so key. What you want out of life, that has to be involved in the conversation. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because usually you'll see the man who's the kite. He's up in the clouds. Oh, we can do this, do that. You know what I mean? I think the Will Smith was the movie where he bought all the scanners, the heart scanners of the thing.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. Mm-hmm. Just head in the clouds. We're going to do this. I bought 25 machines. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you need your help. You need a helpmate to be like, okay, like I'm so aware. And I've said this so many times on every platform that I get a chance to say it on. I know that the advancement that I've experienced over the last year and a half does not happen without you.
Yeah.
I've done podcasts before, but my vision isn't fulfilled if I don't have someone to be like, okay, cool, you want to do a podcast? All right, well, what's our target audience? Okay, what's this? What day are we doing this? Like holding me to the details instead of the big picture. I know I don't experience that. Like, hey, look, when's the last time you said it? Hey, you doing your lessons? You doing this, da-da-da? There's no, look, let me tell you something. If you're not pushing me, you know what I'm saying? And it's necessary in the process that the conversation continues to be, what are we going after? We talked about that plenty of times. We went to that conference and we were like, yo, what's the vision for our family? Like the importance of like, okay, where are we going?
As hold you to the fire.
Huh?
I'm going to hold you to the fire about that too.
For sure. Yeah. It's a conversation between both of us. It's not just me telling you. Like,
no, but I think you set the stage, right? Yeah. And then we fill in the details the same.
For sure. Absolutely. But it's so important. It's so important to have a conversation. And you have to know who you are and be confident and sure of who you are. Like if you're Darius with Kiki, you have to be so comfortable being just Darius.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's hard because there are things that come in like this scenario that will shake your confidence. It will shake your stability.
It only shakes it if it's not solidified.
That's not true.
I disagree.
True. I could think that I'm solidified in something until a certain scenario comes and it will dredge up feelings that I wasn't sure were there.
You can think you're solidified until something shows you otherwise. That means you weren't solidified. You just thought you were.
No, I don't.
If you're comfortable being Darius, then Usher singing the Kiki don't bother you.
Until you see Usher singing the Kiki, and then you like,
but that just means you were wrong about being solidified. You were not comfortable. You thought you were. That doesn't mean you actually were.
Yeah, I guess I just don't know if you know until you experience something. It's the same thing that I told you, like when we were dating before then, I hadn't been intimate with anybody for 3 years, right? So I'm like, yes, that part of me is under subjection. I don't feel the need to masturbate. I don't feel the need to be with somebody. Like I'm good until I had a man that was there and pulling those desires out of me. It doesn't mean that I wasn't straight then, because all the temptation I had, all the temptation that I had, I didn't succumb to.
You didn't have no temptation.
That's not true. You don't know
what man were you around to tempt you?
I'm not gonna put my business out here. We can talk about it later. But I had temptation. I had the opportunity to not be celibate. I did.
But this is what I'm saying.
Or abstinent, I should say.
Everyone can do anything at any point. I can go find some crack to smoke it. At any point, I can go find it. But until I get addicted and it's in the room with me, I really don't know the temptation. Like, that's what I'm saying. If you didn't have a man that you were up under night and day that you were in love with, then of course it's easy to sustain. At any point, you could have called me and said, hey, let's go do this. But were you with somebody like you were up on me before me?
No, but this is what you're proving my point, that you can really be solidified in something until something comes to challenge that.
This is what I'm saying. Like, if you're solidified, really, are you really solidified, or do you just think you are because you haven't experienced temptation to test it? That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sure you like, oh man, I'm solid in this. Of course you feel that way because you're void of the pulling. But once you get to it, like you realize, dang, I wasn't as solidified as I thought I was, because when I have the opportunity to, or when it's in front of me, I feel the pull. It's the thought versus the reality. I thought I was really solidified. Then you find out, dang, I wasn't as solid as I thought I was, because now I feel the weight of the temptation in front of me. Yeah, I could think I'm comfortable with who I am. But then when I see Usher singing to my girl, it shows me, dang, I'm not as comfortable as I thought I was. It wasn't that I was uncomfortable. Then I got uncomfortable because Usher's singing. No, you weren't as comfortable as you thought you were in who you are.
Yeah, and my point is it's not that easy to assess that if you don't experience that.
For sure. I'm with you on that.
I have the thought that, you know what I'm saying? I'm good. Like I seen the level of her celebrity up until this point, and with that, I've been comfortable with that. It's the same thing with us. Like if you all of a sudden, I'm comfortable with who I am, with the Russell that you are. if you become Russell the superstar, I might not be as comfortable with who I am to you. When you have other influences, when you have other temptations, when you know, things come to shake that foundation and really make you evaluate, is this what I thought it was or ain't it? Because I could really feel really solid in this when there's nothing coming to shake this. I think what he experienced was he probably was okay with their relationship until it elevated to this next level where not only is it this man that has a higher status than you, can do other things, do things for her that maybe you can't, but then the world is also talking about it. Because before he put out the tweet, the video was circulating the internet like, oh, Keke Palmer, and now he has all these things in his ear, and then, you know, the ego get the best of you and you make a mistake. I don't think that he should have in any way put their business out there on the internet. I don't think anybody should do that. If you have a problem in your relationship, the only person that you should address that with is the person that's in the relationship with you. It is the reason why I'm not talking to my mama, my friend, my pastor, or nobody until we at least have an initial conversation. Now, if we have that initial conversation and there is no resolve, I will talk to other people to see how I can or how we can get better on the same page. But I'm not having an issue with you and running out and Facebook and tweeting, Instagram and threading or any of that before I talk to you. And I mean, I guess in my personality, I just wouldn't put that out there anyways. As far as y'all know, we are happy until we sit down on this podcast and then we kind of put our business out.
Yeah, and that's I agree with that. I think we talked about that, social media versus couples. I can't remember what that
relationships,
relationship versus social media, and we had that conversation. Like, it's just not a place for your business, and I think it just screams to insecurity and unsureness. Like when you need validation from outside sources, when you need a pat on the back for what you're gonna do. Something. I ain't dealing with these N-words no more because this last time they dragged me out the mud. How you don't come back till 5 a.m? Like, what are you looking for? Are you trying to put them out there? Are you looking for someone to be like, girl, you deserve better? Like, validation from outside sources. Like, it's such a dead end. It's like,
I can tell you what, because them people is fickle. And once, I think what we see a lot is we will down talk and put down our partner on social media. And then when we forgive them, like, we expect the world to forgive them. And that typically doesn't happen. Like, what you put out on the internet, it will stay there forever and a day. And people are going to remember that. They're going to remember when you post the happy picture of y'all walking through daisies and picking flowers and having a picnic. They're going to remember when you said he wasn't SHIT.
That part.
So just remember that when you want to go share. If you going to share or if you're going to forgive them, don't share it, because people are only going to remember the bad stuff.
That's part of the reason why you'll hear constantly people advising you to fall in love with yourself before you fall in love with somebody else. Because the more you love yourself, the less you'll need validation from other people when you're going through something that can be as tumultuous as a loving relationship. A romantic relationship will drag you through the mud like nothing else can. Like, loving somebody, and
it's not even like doing you wrong, but just the emotional turmoil that you go through.
Yeah, like, it's a difficult thing to maintain. Like, loving people is not for the faint of heart, because all human beings are flawed. Like, we just are human. We're flawed people. Even with the best of intent, I love this woman so much, I am almost positive I'm gonna offend her at some point. Maybe with the decision I made, maybe a way that I didn't consider her feelings, or maybe the way I said something in frustration. Like, it's impossible to escape offense, right? But in that, when you are hurt, this is when you need to really be sure of who you are and love who you are. Because when you're hurt, you want to hurt.
Yeah.
Right? And the more you're unsure of yourself, the more the unction to hurt is magnified, right? Like, if I'm upset with you and I'm not sure on who I am, the more I'll feel the need to go to other people and say, let me tell you what Brandy did, bro. Mm-hmm. Can you believe she did that? Man, that's crazy, fam. Now I feel valid. Now I feel like what I'm feeling is, it's valid. It means something. Because I need that. I need you to agree with me. Or I need attention when I'm going through something. So now I'm on my Facebook or I'm on whatever, on Twitter, on Threads, and I'm putting everything out for people to be like, you heard Brandy from What They Never Told podcast. Can you believe she was out having coffee with this dude? Da, 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 da. You know, it never happened, but I'm just saying, like when I'm not sure of who I am, the more I need outside people to cater to my feelings.
Yeah. And you never know what people's motivation is either. Like, I'm always weary of the people who just always have advice ready on what's your motivation for advising everybody for every scenario? Because I can't tell you the amount of screenshots, the amount of did you know, did you hear I get when you're confiding in somebody about your personal business and they can't wait to run and tell somebody else about it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you have to be so careful what you share, because even if you have a vulnerable moment where you like, I just need some advice, that person goes and tells somebody, and then they go telling somebody, and before you know it, your business that hasn't even been resolved, maybe you haven't even addressed it with your partner yet, and it's out there for the world to see. And then when it gets back to them, it's coming back twisted. Because why do somebody know something about you or me that you ain't had a conversation with me about? Now I'm offended and we can't even have the conversation because we dealing with emotions and feelings that didn't need to be there in the first place. I just feel like when you said you have to be comfortable with yourself, the older I get, the more upset I get with the educational system. I just think that we learn about a lot of stuff in school, especially like the high school period, that I never touch in real life. But they're not teaching us emotional intelligence. They're not teaching us how to handle relationships, talking about how to take care of ourselves. Like none of those things. Yeah, there could be like the Montessori schools, they really focus on how you learn in relation to the environment that you're in. So they develop situational awareness, emotional intelligence in those environments because they're teaching kids about, I don't know, manners or whatever, but it's in a setting where we're all sitting at a table and we're learning how to divide things. We're learning how to share. These are things that I've never had to cube anything in my life. Like I've never had to take 7 and cube it for something in my life. And I bake. I work with math equations, but learning how to cube, learning geometry, none of that stuff comes out in my everyday life. But in everyday life, I am forced to manage your emotions along with mine. I'm forced to assess what I'm feeling in the inside and express that towards the outside. I need a course. I need a course in
You're
school
not gonna find that
to teach people how to do that. At least introducing the concepts and the ideas in the conversation. Now, you don't have to have therapy sessions in school with people breaking down their backgrounds and things like that. But I do think an introduction to the concepts, the verbiage on how to express yourself and how to handle yourself as an adult needs to be taught in school, because we have so many people who don't learn that in their home, don't learn it at school, and they coming out here and they're making a mess of their lives.
What is school for?
School is to teach you how to be successful in adulthood.
Isn't it like the workforce though? Like they don't.
I don't know. This is a great question because I don't really know if they don't prepare you for the workforce.
It seems
I didn't learn how to write a resume in school. I didn't learn how to do an interview.
Well, I mean, for some things you would need to go to school for. Being a doctor, things like that.
Yes.
Like,
okay, let's focus on like high school.
Engineering, like you need mathematics for that. Like algebra, like that's stuff that comes in handy. Computer.
So they're preparing you for certain workforces.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if I want to be a singer, unless I go to a theater art school or something specialty, I
really don't know if you frame it in that question.
That had nothing to do with nothing. I just was genuine. When you were talking, I was just like, what is the point of school?
No, that's what I'm saying. If you frame that question, I don't know how to answer that.
It seems like most of it is preparing you for conforming to the workplace, like sitting down, be doing a task for an extended period of time. Like, it seems very much so like preparing you for like the workforce. When I think about school, I think very much so about like desk jobs that I've had. It feels very similar.
Yeah. So, I mean, gosh, I hope our kids don't watch this. Be like, well, then why do I have to go to school? Because now it is ingrained in so much in what you want to do in your future that if you don't have it, it
depends on what you want to do for your future. Like,
yeah.
I did a grand opening for a business, and I was talking with one of the entrepreneurs who was there, and she was very passionate about this. She was like, I'm giving my daughter options. Like, and this was off. We did like a panel, but this was off the panel. Like, we were just talking off to the side. And she was like, the school system, especially the whole notion and idea of college, is such a broken thing. Like, know what you want to do with your life, right? Because going to college is not always going to lend to you living the life that you want to lead.
Absolutely.
Especially, like, of course, you want to go into the medical field. You're going to need to go to school for that. Therapy, like, there's certain things that you need certification for and education to do. But there's some things that a college is not going to give you, right? You can very much so, and there are very much so people who have scaled large businesses with no college education.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's just about knowing what you want to do and knowing the best course to do that. But 100%, right? There should be something just based on the pure importance of it that teaches you emotional intelligence. I don't think I even came across that information until I got to the field that I've worked in, and that's dealing with emotions. Like, when I'm working with kids on how to work through their emotions, how to look back over incidents that have happened and recognize errors in their thinking, errors in their feelings. Like, these systems that we taught every day were things that I was like, yo, this is so important. Things that I started incorporating in my daily life.
And you think, like, that child, had they not been in trouble, probably never would have got that type of teaching and guidance.
And even when they get there, they're so ingrained in just a toxic environment that they came from.
It's like,
they still can't receive it. It's like,
brick wall.
What you mean? Like, bro, this dude called me the B word. What you mean? I had to stab him. Like, huh? Make that make sense.
Wait, yeah, this is not like the first time that I've had this thought, but just like, I never asked myself what is school for, but I definitely have asked myself, like, what is the system teaching our children about being adults and navigating life? Because if I'm teaching you emotional intelligence, that helps you in the workforce, that helps you in relationships, that helps you in everything, every area of your life. Being emotionally invested in what you feel and how to express that is so important. But nobody's teaching these kids that. And if the parents don't have it, they can't teach it to their children. I'm so thankful that you came into our lives and you could help introduce some of that thinking and talking and framing around discipline, around decision making for our children, because it's something that I didn't have in my life, so I couldn't even pass on to them. But as I grow, I see how important it is to be like, no, you need to say how you feel instead of just smacking somebody. I need to be able to express that I feel like you've done me wrong here in the workplace instead of just quitting. Yeah. But a lot of us don't have the skills and the capability to do that. So we end up just walking out. We end up fighting. We end up yelling and screaming because there's no other way that we have to express what's happening in the inside of us. And that should happen as early as elementary school.
That and financial literacy.
Amen. Yeah. Lord, if somebody would have told me about credit a long time ago,
man,
I could have had this thing together.
That part. I had a homie, and he showed me his credit score. I was like, I didn't even know the number could get that high. How you get an 8 in front of your number? I didn't know it could do that. And he was like, oh man, my parents, they had me on their credit card since I was a baby, and they taught me about this and this and this. Like, oh, they taught you that. Wow. It's cultural. It's cultural.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember my mom, this is what she told me about money. Don't get a Capital One credit card. They crooks.
That's good.
That's it.
Good wisdom. And you got one now, too. So I need to know
do
why you didn't listen.
Now. I do have one because I realize now that it's bigger than that, right?
I bet so. Yeah.
If they're not going to rob from you if you don't take more than what you can pay back. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So my mom, God bless her, she did the best that she could with the little bit that she had. But she was a robbing Peter to pay Paul type of person. We just went to dinner and we were talking about life insurance, and she was like, you need to have life insurance outside of your job. And I was like, well, I did, but you took out a loan against it when I was a kid, and so I was just paying back the loan, and my life insurance didn't have any value, so I just cut it off. And she was like, you know what, I'm sorry about that, because again, she was just taking money from wherever she could to make sure that she could raise us, because her parents before that was dirt poor. Like my grandmother's house.
It's the black people context.
$17,000.
It's the black people context. We're built on survival and not thriving.
Absolutely.
Survive, not thrive.
Yeah. My grandfather had been in prison, so he came out and he started working with his hands because that's the only thing that he knew how to do. My grandmother didn't finish the 7th grade, so she had no education. So she was a maid, and then she got stuck in a factory too. Like, so everything that they did was just to keep going. It was never to build anything. So now, like, I feel like we should be having those conversations again in school, but also in the home, about what a credit score means. If I put this money in your hand, it's not just for you to buy V-Bucks with.
Yeah.
Like, you need to put a portion of it up. You need to learn how to tithe. You need to learn how to give and help and be charitable to people, because all of those things will help you in the future.
Yeah. It's like any skill you have, how do you take what you can do with that skill and put yourself in position to thrive with that? Like, there's people, so many black men I know who are skilled with their hands, skilled laborers, right?
And don't even know it. They just like the neighborhood mechanic who like to fix stuff.
Yeah. Like, but this is what put in perspective for me. We had a tree fall down in our backyard. My dad was like, oh, I know a guy. Everybody know a guy who can do something. So it was his neighbor. I said, oh, cool, come do it. Dude came over, scraggly guy, cut up the tree, did it for the low too. And I was like, oh man, he, in my experience, I deal with the hood dude who just, he'll do whatever. He'll help you move. He'll cut your grass. He'll clean your gutters. He'll fix your sink. Like throw me $20. Cool.
Yeah.
Usually that guy is a skilled laborman, skilled with his hands, can rig it to make it function, but doesn't know what to do with that money or doesn't know how to scale that.
Yeah.
This guy, white guy, same type of guy, because he said he can do our gutters, said he'll cut our lawn. He cut a tree up. He hauled it. He said he does plumbing. He says, I'm going to do whatever type of guy. But this is a guy who owns 2 Mercedes-Benz, has a Camaro. Not a Camaro. What's the Corvette? Has a Corvette. And it's like, yo, how do you have the same skill set as a dude I know from the South Side, but you're far better off and you're thriving with that skill versus the guy who doesn't know what to do with that? Yeah.
I think this question, we have to ignore the social things that just make it different, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. There's a reason.
But the skill is the same.
The skill is the same, which is why if we have the proper education, then whatever skill you have, you can scale that, right? Like, black people have had multiple economic bases. Like, you look at the Hispanic culture, there is a economic base of agriculture or construction. Like, most guys I know who come from that culture, just from learning, being with their fathers, they have a certain skill set. You know what I mean? They know this was passed down to me. It's a skill I have. But how do I scale that skill? Black people been cleaning and picking for generations. You know what I mean? There could have been economic base out of that. The cleaning force, companies that come and clean office buildings could have been an economic base for the African American community in the same way where it becomes stereotypical. But you think Asian people, you say, oh, nail shops. You think hair, what's
beauty supply stuff.
Beauty supply stuff. These are black communities that these stores are opening up in, but it's an economic base that when they cousins come over here, it's like, here's an industry that we know well.
It's passing it on. Our culture is very much known for gatekeeping, right? But to the point where nobody's growing, right?
Yeah.
You might have something a skill set or talent that that will take you far beyond anything you ever imagined, but you don't pass any of that on to the people that are coming up underneath you. If they're not related to you, you're not going back to your hood, you're not showing kids how to do things. And I don't know where this comes from, but it's like, it's mine and I can't share it.
Well, it's a limiting mindset because we come from environments where we were at, there wasn't enough to go around.
Yes, absolutely.
All the way back to the plantation, where if there was a little bit of grace from the massa, it wasn't enough to go around. So you end up getting the quote unquote Uncle George guy who's like, I'm gonna be in his good graces, and anyone else who seems like they're trying to get onto him, I'm close with massa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it gives this like pass down. There's not enough. It's a limiting mindset, a limited belief system that makes me feel like there's not enough to go around. So if I have a restaurant, I have to be the only restaurant.
Right.
No one. You open up a soul food restaurant. So if you are opening a soul food restaurant, I have a soul food restaurant in the same city.
It's
can't
immediate competition.
I can't come to you and say, "Hey, what ovens do you use?" Like, don't. What kind of season you put in your chicken? No, don't ask me that because I can't. You'll take from me. McDonald's and Burger King have been next door to each other stereotypically. Someone said this at the conference.
Yeah,
she was like, I asked a question and I said, "What do you feel like is not said enough with entrepreneurs?" She was like, "We're not in competition." She said, in this city and in most cities, you'll see a street with restaurants that serve the same thing on the same street. Yeah. Like, typically, you'll see a McDonald's and a Burger King right next to each other. And I thought about it. On West Avenue in the city we live in, they're right next to each other. Wendy's, McDonald's, right next to each other on a different street. They serve the same foods. Just because they do the same thing doesn't mean they do it the same way. There's only one Dave Thomas. No one's going to make that square hamburger. That's his thing. When people come to us, hey, what equipment do you use? I send a full sheet. This is our camera. This is our lighting. These are the mics we use. Because, I can scale that. I could be like, I can't let you open up a podcast. We the only people that do. It's, you. Even if you had these mics, there's only one me. There's only one Brandy.
Right.
So I don't need to be in competition with you. And
I think it goes the other way, too. Because, like, if we are willing to share and we say, but I need to make a little bit of money off of this. So I'm going to give it to you, but it's going to cost you X,
For
Y,
sure.
Z.
Yeah.
Then they feel like, whoa, they too good. They want to make me pay. They want to, you know what I'm saying? It's a spirit of competition that runs throughout our culture that I don't see in any other
unnecessary
culture.
Competitiveness.
It's just like, we not trying to get over on you. We want to help you, but we also have bills that we trying to maintain and, do too. So, like, if you come to us and say, I want a list of equipment, he gonna give it to you regardless of anything. Now, if you come to us and say, I want you to help me set up a podcast, that might cost you.
Yeah, can you show me how to do this? How did you grow? How did you scale? Because there's a lot of people start podcasts. Not everyone starts a podcast and scales it, gets viewership, gets active listeners, returning listeners. How do you do that? That's gonna cost you.
But it's like, again, it's just that competitiveness that's like they trying to charge us for, they don't even know, y'all just got lucky or whatever. And it's like, okay, I don't want to be in competition with anybody.
I'm not competing with nobody.
Anybody.
I'm not competing with nobody.
I'm willing to help in any way that I can. But it's like we want to rip each other off. Like, if your friend in the business, I hate when friends of mine will get on social media and be like, yo, who baked cakes? Really? Really?
You're my friend.
You know who baked cakes.
You know
and
I
I'm the type, like, if I can't do it for you, I'm gonna be like, look, call this person.
Yeah.
I see her on Facebook. She looked pretty cool. I don't know her, but her stuff look good.
Hit them
Call
up.
her.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, if I can't do it, you can't go to nobody else. Nah, but don't be disrespectful either. Like, I bake cakes. If you want me to, if you need a cake, come ask me. And if I can't do it, I'm gonna send you to somebody who can. Like, It's just, I don't know. It's this pettiness that I really cannot stand.
Yeah, I think the conversations are helping us like awaken out of that. It's the awareness that is like helping us break out those yokes. So I'm glad the conversation exists now, because it's funny that we're having this conversation. These things were literally being said in that grand opening that I helped host. And I'm glad that the conversations are happening now, because something's got to give. It's like change has to happen.
Yeah.
So
We done took this conversation all the way around the world. We done talked about Waffle House.
Kiki
Palmer.
Darius.
The educational system.
the state of the black people. Look here. Come on, this is a well-rounded conversation. Look, getting everything they need out of this.
We done did about 4 episodes in one.
It's all good. It's all good. Now look, we eating up all our vacation time. We trying to go out and see the city. Columbus, we out here. Let us know something.
He just want more ice cream, yeah.
I do. I'm going back to Jimmy's every day that we're here, literally. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Just a reminder that the live this week is on Thursday. So we will be going live Thursday on Facebook and YouTube, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then next week, we will not have an episode or a live. We will be
season
on
4 mid-season break.
Vacation, like for real vacation, because this is vacation, but we're still working. But we're going to be actually away with Russell's family. So do not expect a episode or a live this week, but we will be back the last week of July, I believe that is.
Absolutely.
Like we never left.
That part. So listen, until next time, hope y'all are doing well, prospering, living as the Lord is leading, and I hope you're blessed. Seriously. I hope you know that a big reason why we're sitting here is because this is a work that God has placed on our hearts. It is a work He has assigned to our hands, and we want you to feel God all in this conversation. And everything we talk about, from finances to relationships, is something that prospers when it's in the Lord's hands. Everything prospers when it's in the Lord's hands.
Amen.
And when I say prosper, I don't mean that, you'll have all the money and checks come from where.
Yeah.
I just mean that you'll have a peace and a joy and a grace to do some things, right? And I'm talking to the people who listen because a marriage is on the brink and they're looking for nuggets, things to take back to the table and say, how can I fix this? The first step is, as you work on you and as you work on your spiritual, everything around you starts getting aligned with that as well. Your conversations will be seasoned with grace, all of that stuff. So quick plug, if you don't know Jesus, get to know Him.
And when you do that, it's so easy to cut off everything that doesn't serve that purpose, that doesn't feed your joy, doesn't feed your happiness, doesn't feed your peace. When you have the peace that they talk about in Proverbs that surpasses all understanding, if anything comes in that is a threat to that peace, you don't want it. I promise you. I can't deal with that.
Or you're called to bring into alignment. Like, hey, look, this house, these children, this husband, everything, right now I plead the blood of Jesus around it. You will come on this objection.
Hey, we laughing, but
you can speak
real.
to some things. You
For
can
real.
speak to the mountain and tell it to move, and Cupid shuffles to the left. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So, quick plug. Once
If you
again,
don't
we
know
are
this
all over the
Jesus
place.
that we talk about.
Yeah, but we all over
Pardon
the
that
place.
your sins.
Okay. All right. We finna slide, y'all. As always, we love.
And y'all should love too.
Peace.